You are listening to an update from Washington with the Congressman from Alabama's 1st Congressional District, Bradley Byrne. Now from our nation's capital, Congressman Byrne.
Welcome into this week's edition of an update from Washington. I'm Seth Morrow, joined by Congressman Bradley Byrne. And today we're going to talk about pro-life issues. And Congressman, a lot of people have seen and have heard about these videos of showing Planned Parenthood officials talking about selling baby body parts. Can you kind of tell us what those videos are about and what they made you feel?
Yes, I've looked at all of them. In fact, I've not just looked at the edited versions. I've looked at the longer versions, the full unedited versions, and they're disgusting. What they show very clearly is not only that Planned Parenthood will take infants who are in the process of being born, being delivered, and killing them, then they dismember them, and then there are other videos where they're clearly out there bargaining over the price for selling them. It's like something out of a 21st century Dickens novel. It's just awful. So we in Washington have decided it's enough, that we've got to do something about the federal funding of Planned Parenthood. If there are people that want to support it with their private dollars, they're free to, but we shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars for that. So we've passed a bill, as you know, already that is a plain just takes all federal funding away from Planned Parenthood. And we've started some very important hearings. We'll be appointing a special committee to do more hearings so we can get to the bottom of the actual facts here.
So why is this such an important issue to you and so many constituents, these pro-life matters? Why do you think it has really struck so many people so strongly?
Well, all of us know that babies start to exhibit life long before they're delivered. I mean, any time you've been around a lady that's pregnant, you know at a certain stage you can feel the baby move. Of course, these days with technology, they can see inside the womb and see so many different things and know so many different things about the baby, about early heartbeat and all that. But my faith also tells me that life begins at the point of conception. So if we're going to be true to that, then we need to protect life once it starts at conception. And so I feel very strongly that we should be protecting life. Now, in a lot of the cases what we're dealing with here, we're talking about late-term abortions. We're talking about after 20 weeks. And many babies can survive at 20 weeks. And we do over at the Women's Children's Hospital in Mobile. So, these are clearly viable unborn babies. Viable is the key term from the Supreme Court's decision, Roe versus Wade. So I think we can and should stop abortions, but we surely shouldn't use taxpayer money to fund an organization that's engaged in acts like this.
I know there was a big debate about government funding the federal government and whether or not it should include money for Planned Parenthood. What was your position on that?
I voted against it. We have to pass these crazy continuing resolutions to keep the government funded, and I'm tired of doing that. I don't think that's the way to handle things up here in terms of funding the government. But as a part of that, we didn't have a provision in there I wanted to see that made it clear that these federal agencies that give out grants to people like Planned Parenthood would prohibit them from giving any grants to Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood says we don't use the money for these abortion procedures. Well, money, is fungible. It can be, if I put money in one account, that just frees up money from that account to go somewhere else. So I don't buy that argument. I don't think we should be putting a single dollar of money in Planned Parenthood. They get $500 million from the federal government, $500 million. And I don't see that the taxpayers are well served by that money.
What do you say to critics who say this is just an attempt to limit women's health care?
Well, our legislation actually shifts that money over to community health clinics. We have those in my district. In fact, we have a very good one, Franklin Health Care, that's a great clinic in a part of town in Mobile that helps a lot of people, and they really need the money. So I actually feel like this is a twofer. We're taking money away from the Planned Parenthood clinic in Mobile that performed 2 abortions in the space of 6 months on a 14-year-old girl last year and giving it to these community health care clinics that help so many people.
Well, how can people stay up to date on this and all of your work in Congress?
Well, the best thing to do is to go online and dial up burn.house.gov. And there are all sorts of things you'll find there. Please register for our weekly email and just keep up with us on Facebook.
You have been listening to an update from Washington with Congressman Bradley Byrne. Congressman Byrne encourages you to contact him with any comments or questions. You can email him online at burn.house.gov or find him on Facebook under U.S. Representative Bradley Byrne. Stay tuned to this station next week for another timely report from our nation's capital. This broadcast has been pre-recorded.